Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. Breaking news. Out of the transfer portal, and what is the conversation that we have been having all show long? It is the portal. It is the state of things. Well, it is very interesting because just minutes ago, USC lost former five-star wide receiver Zachariah Branch. It has been announced that he will enter the transfer portal. This is via Hayes Fawcett, via On3. And I am just here to say, boy, oh boy, oh boy, what the heck is happening at USC? So USC, listen, you don't need me to tell you, a little bit of a debacle of a season. By the way, thank you, producer Matt, for getting that graphic ready to go in short amount of time. But what a weird situation at USC, okay? And let me do the Aaron right, Aaron wrong thing and just acknowledge I have been so wrong on Lincoln Riley. I really thought Lincoln Riley coming from Oklahoma to USC, that this guy was going to be gangbusters. Now, maybe selfishly a little bit of it is that I live in Los Angeles. It would be great if USC was kind of relevant on the national scale. But I just could not have imagined that what we are seeing is actually what is the reality for USC. So 2 seasons ago, not this past year where you go 7-5, but the year before when they went 8-4, they were 7-5 last year as well. That was the last year with Caleb Williams. And I did give Lincoln Riley a little bit of a pass. The defense was an absolute abomination. I didn't think it was Lincoln Riley's best moment as a head coach. I thought that, too often they let Caleb kind of cook a little bit too much, and they let Caleb get a little bit too loose with the football. But coming into this year, I kind of said, okay, we need to see a little bit more balance, right? Because last year it was, Caleb, we're going to kind of let him freelance. And then by the end of the year, it was like, we just can't get Caleb killed. He's going to be the number 1 pick. The defense is terrible. I needed to see improvement from the defense in terms of on-the-field product. They beat LSU. You think everything's going to be okay. But here is the crazy part, is the fact that after they beat LSU, they basically lost to everybody else that mattered, right? Lose to Michigan on the road, lose to Notre Dame at home, lose to Penn State at home, lose at Minnesota, lose at Maryland, lose at Washington. And what's crazy is even during the season, I think I gave USC kind of the benefit of the doubt. You look at all of their losses. You look at what happened on the field. They weren't that far off. They were up 20-6 against Penn State. They had the ball twice in the red zone in the final 5 minutes and could not convert against Washington. So I kind of sat there and said, okay, listen, I gave Lincoln Riley the benefit of the doubt last year. I sort of tried to give him the benefit of the doubt this year going into next year. But you look at what has happened since the season ended, it is just a debacle of epic proportions. And really, it just speaks to, I don't know what the heck is going on at USC right now, but it is not good. So if you follow me on Twitter at Aaron_Torres, make sure you're following me. I just put out this tweet while we were talking to Zach Smith. Lincoln Riley's first recruiting class at SC, okay? Lincoln Riley's first recruiting class at SC had 3 5-stars in that class. It was Zachariah Branch, Deuce Robinson, and Malachi Nelson, the quarterback. Now, even if you want to, argue that Malachi Nelson was overrated, this was the kid that transferred after last season from Boise State, or from USC to Boise State, got beat out for the starting job and has since transferred again. Even if you want to argue that kid was overrated, Zachariah Branch and Deuce Robinson were 2 very key pieces to what was an otherwise not very good offense, not good offense relative to this past season, not good relative to the season, okay? Deuce Robinson this year as a tight end, 23 catches, 5 touchdown receptions. That was second most on the team. Also, Zachariah Branch, 47 catches, tied for the most along with running back Woody Marks, 503 yards receiving and 1 touchdown. Now, maybe the argument is you needed to use him a little bit more because Zachariah Branch is one of the great athletes that we have in college football. I cannot believe that he only accounted for 1 touchdown. Last year, he only had 2 receiving touchdowns. He did have a kick return for a touchdown as well as a rushing touchdown a year ago. But yeah, if I'm Zachariah Branch, I'm kind of pissed off about the fact that, oh, by the way, that my coach doesn't know how to get me the football. So Zachariah Branch has entered the portal. As I said, 3 5-stars in Lincoln Riley's first class. They are all in the portal. And a couple quick things on this. One, as far as Zachariah Branch is concerned, I thought it was very interesting. Hayes Fawcett, who is very plugged in. I love Hayes. He follows me. I follow him. Someday, not during portal season, would love to get him on the show and talk about what his everyday life is like. But I bring it up because Hayes Fawcett just minutes ago tweeted out that, let me see if I can find this tweet here really quick. Okay, so let's see here. Let me find the Hayes Fawcett tweet. He tweeted out, this was interesting. He said, these were Zachariah Branch's finalists in high school: Alabama, Ohio State, Oklahoma, and USC. Let me put it this way. Hayes is a smart kid. I don't know him, but he's a very smart kid. He's very good at what he does. He does not put out that tweet if there is 0% chance that Zachariah Branch is going to any of those schools. Like if we don't know if the recruitment is wide open, then my guess is that he just kind of just says, hey, this is whatever. I think the fact that he put that out is kind of hinting at the fact that maybe one of those schools will be a finalist. So if you're looking for a silver lining, if you're an Alabama fan, maybe the silver lining is, hey, you're losing everybody. Jalen Mbakwe, we'll see what happens. But maybe there's the possibility that this kid ends up at Alabama. By the way, Courtney Morgan, he's from California. He's a West Coast guy. USC tried to hire him as Alabama's GM. Does that mean that Alabama would be in the running? Obviously, Ohio State, I would love to see him at Ohio State because you look at the fact that they're going to have Jeremiah Smith back next year. They're going to have Carnell Tate back next year. I mean, that would be as dynamic of a wide receiver room as we could possibly have. But to me, this is, I don't think stunning, because we've talked about it all offseason. But, one, you lose Deuce Robinson. You lose Miller Moss. I actually didn't think Miller Moss was really the problem, even though he wasn't great. I didn't even mention you lose Kyron Hudson, who, of course, committed to Penn State on Monday afternoon. So you now lost 3 marquee receivers plus your starting quarterback. And I'm just here to say, like, this Lincoln Riley thing is not working out. And he just is not who we thought he was. I just think there's something going on. There's a disconnect. I've heard kind of locally that I don't even think he's trying to recruit locally anymore. Like the one thing I would say about USC really quick. This is all off the cuff, by the way. This news just happened in the last 5 minutes. What I would say about USC, I don't really even know what their recruiting plan is. They're not recruiting Southern California very hard. We've all seen the stats, but remember, I think the stat was of the top 10 players in Southern California, 4 committed to Alabama, 2 have committed to USC. Alabama, no disrespect, and I understand it's a portal world, it's an NIL world. Alabama should not be getting twice as many marquee players out of the state of California as SC is. But SC has no local base. Nationally, it's this weird thing where they were really aggressive in the portal early on. Now I don't think they're getting guys. They're trying to recruit a bunch of kids from Georgia and the South, and I don't think it's bad to go get a player or 2, but your base has to be the West Coast, Southern California, etc. And so I think what is especially concerning if you're an SC fan is now you're losing the kids from the West Coast that you had locked up. You had Zachariah Branch, who's from Vegas, locked up. You had Miller Moss, who's a West Coast kid, locked up. You had Deuce Robinson, who's an Arizona kid, locked up. And those kids are now leaving. And so I just bring it up because what a debacle at USC. Zachariah Branch is officially in the portal. My sense is he will not be the last guy. But you talk about, I would argue maybe your 3 most high-profile wide receivers. You're supposed to be the quarterback offensive whisperer, and 2 of your top 3 receivers, and then Deuce Robinson, who was second on the team in touchdown receptions, are all in the portal. Yeah, there's something really bad going on at SC.